Bam. Welcome back, everybody, to Delusional Confidence, the podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Ida. My name is Emily Kosick. I am I'm a self-development coach, entrepreneur. You can find me at Emily's.root-awakening on Instagram and YouTube, and Ida, the chilling therapist, artist, self-employed lady, is on Instagram and YouTube at the chilling therapist.
Yay. I actually love when you introduce me. I love when people talk about me in that way instead of me having to do it.
I'm glad to hear that, because sometimes we never talk about what we're going to say in the intro. I love promoting, and Ida and I have talked about that. I'm kind of like the promoter girl, so I usually just start talking, especially because I also operate the tech on my end. I hit record, so then I start talking. But then sometimes I'm like, maybe Ida wants to introduce herself first once in a while.
I know, right? Bloody Ida.
But if you don't mind, I don't mind, man.
I don't mind, but I like how once in a while I'm like, hey guys, I'm here.
Yeah, I like that too. I like it. We've mixed it up. That's cool, man.
Yeah, so you said you have something to talk about. I'm excited to hear.
Yeah. So Ida and I talked on the last episode about how we both love podcasting so much, and we both agreed that if we had it our way, we'd be recording like Joe Rogan style, like high-end podcast in person with the nice mics. We'd be doing that. And we'd be doing that together for this podcast. So actually, it's been kind of a whole thing for us to like do this the way that we're doing it, which is kind of like straight out the basement, like we're still on super low budget. So we're Ida's in Ghana, I'm in Michigan, we're recording on Zoom, we're doing all of our own editing, and we're kind of like, begrudgingly doing it, but we keep doing it because we do love it. Like, we love talking to each other and we love podcasting, but we know that we're just made to have a bigger operation. Excuse me. So on that note of like, us having this dream of podcasting in person, I was telling Ida that my other podcast, Root Awakening, a health podcast, is kind of speeding up a little bit. More people are booking with me. I'm getting interviewed in other podcasts again. It just feels good to have that momentum. And Ido said, hey, if we could be paid imagine if you were paid to podcast this whole week, you'd be rolling in it, And I'm like, that sounds amazing. And I guess the way I wanted to segue was, making money while podcasting. And people ask me sometimes, do you make money with your podcast? And I tell them that there might be some other arrangements that I don't know about, but people generally make money on podcasts with brand deals and sponsors, right? Do you know of any other money-making ways on podcasts?
I think those are the ways that I know, like ads, being sponsored, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it any different. So like, you go on Joe Rogan and he's like, he does like athletic greens, it's like a supplement that I would never drink, but he loves them apparently. Logan Paul, they have like all these funny sponsors, like erectile dysfunction. Not like that's funny, guys. I know that's a big thing, but it's like stuff that they can easily make a joke out of, but also is useful to people if they need it. Mm-hmm. And of course, like, this topic kind of keeps coming up because both of us are very morally connected to our work, and we don't take something just for the money. And some people have different moral compasses. They're like, well, maybe I wouldn't ever try this product, but maybe other people will like it. So I'm going to do this brand deal with them, which makes perfect sense. I don't think there's that much wrong with it unless you know it's like a really harmful product and you promote it anyway. I think if you don't think it's harmful, then what's wrong with promoting it? Other people might like it. Problem is, I like most products. I mean, there's all different ways to be sponsored, but unless I'm being sponsored by farms these days, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going out like there's not many big brands that I buy from that I'm like excited to buy from, you know, like I don't buy big brand name stuff. I buy from my local butchers and I buy, you know, I'm sure I'm missing something. You know, if Toyota car company sponsored me, I'd be stoked, man, because I love Toyota. So that's like a huge, I have a Toyota. That's a huge, you know, company. So I'm sure there's stuff I'm not thinking of, but basically what's been running through my mind is like, am I going to be able to scale at this moral perspective that I'm at right now, at this moral level I'm at right now? Because I have not compromised my morality at all throughout this whole process. I've never I've had sponsors for my podcast that were smaller scale, but I believed in them. I bought the products. I brought crystals or supplements. That was back when I was using supplements. I don't even do clickbait. And that topic kind of came up this week, you know, like, how do can I scale by doing things in my very morally sound way? And I remember, Ida, a couple weeks ago on one of our past episodes, you're like, you're selling things in a very moral way, in your very positive moral code. You're not telling people that they're going to die unless they buy your product. People aren't used to that. People are used to, in the self-development industry, typically as good as it gets is like, you know, maybe their product isn't evil, maybe it will help you, but they kind of hint at the fact that you're going to die or bad things will happen if you don't buy from them. And, you know, do you remember saying that? You're nodding.
Yeah, I remember. Yes. There were different words, but I remember exactly what you're saying. So in terms of like, you know, they're selling via pain points and like using trauma and stuff like that. And then people get hooked because they're kind of like, you know, because it's almost like a trauma bond. Like you're buying because of fear of missing out, or you're afraid, or they tell you, if you don't use this way, like this is it. This is the only way it's gonna work. So that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yep. And they like these folks, you know, who are selling a lot in the self-development realm, even if they're not actually saying any of these words, they kind of hint at it. Like, this is the way to start paying your rent. This is the way. And I've just been brutally honest majority of this time, never like I lied, but like I've been honest up to what my knowledge is about my products. You know, I used to call my coaching products life-changing, and then I realized that no one's ever given me life-changing feedback, but the information I put into my courses were life-changing for me. So that's why I called them life-changing for a while. And then I started to kind of realize like, well, none of my clients have called it life-changing yet. And I've never found another coach's product to be life-changing for me. I found therapy to be life-changing for me. I talk about this in some of our past episodes here. So, you know, I edit over time. The point is, I've been going on and on in my head with this question, not obsessing, but it's just kind of been in the back of my head. Will I notice that I won't be able to sell enough to make this my full-time job right now because of where society's at with, you know, how people are buying, why people are buying and all of that? Like, will I be able to hold this down, this morality thing down? Because here's the thing, you guys, it's the same thing as getting another job and being an employee of someone. If I do something that doesn't feel morally sound to me, I start to hate it. If I start working for a boss, I start to hate it. If I'm not doing anything besides what I'm doing right now in this moment, I hate it. So to me, it's almost like if I have to sell that way to make my business work, I wouldn't even do it. I would hate it. So I keep going, I kind of keep like casually mulling this over in the back of my head because I don't know, like, is society not ready? Do people not put their money in these courses yet because they're so used to the old, like Ida's saying, the old model of you need this. I'm here saying you don't need my coaching programs. Do you want it? Are you drawn to it? Then do it, So
Yeah.
do you have something to say at this point?
I think Jas Moon explains it perfectly, but I can't quite remember the words she used when she explained it. But she has a post on her page that talks about anxiety-free content, how to produce anxiety-free content, which then will lead to anxiety-free sales and stuff.
Whoa.
And so, I can't quote her because I don't remember, but something along the lines of, when we go to the hierarchy of needs, right? People are buying what they need right now, right? So it's kind of like if you're selling someone things that are not tangible, like, happiness, people are focused on, and that's why some people are using marketing to craft their coaching programs to make it like give you tangible results when it can't really provide any tangible result. Because right now it's like you're basically telling someone, buy personal development, buy happiness, buy more joy, or buy more. And people are not quite there yet because they don't always see the value in that. So it's almost like you need to educate them as to why they need that thing. And that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to educate. Like, I don't want to be like, hey, like, this is why you need this is why you need that. But that's also marketing, like educating people as to why they need this particular product that you're selling in the marketplace. Whereas I wish that it would be more like I just share my stuff and then it just resonates with people and they just connect with it. I don't need to like come and be like, hey, this is why you need this product, or this is why you need to join this membership, or this is why you need to, I don't know. It just doesn't, that's not how I would like to do it. And every time I've tried to kind of educate people, I'm like, well, I don't want to educate people. I don't think it's my, like, I enjoy educating people, but there are some people out there who their purpose is to educate others. But I think mine is just to share my journey and to share like my process, and really and truly me working with someone is just, it's all intuitive. So it's like, what am I selling? Do you get what I mean? But then when you're this honest to people, they don't get it because they're like, yeah, what do you mean? Like, but I kind of feel like we're moving towards like the intangible kind of place right now. I don't think we're quite there, but I kind of feel like we're moving towards where people just land on your page and it just feels right. It just resonates with them and they're like, oh, there's something here that I want to explore.
Yep. And
that's like how I would love it to be done. Then to be like, hey, I've got this product that I'm doing these ads, and nah, come on. But for now, they say that's the only way. I don't want to believe that that's the only way, but for now, that has been the only way, and that's what people are used to. So obviously, oh yes, there's something Jas said, which was for me so profound. So Jas was like, for us, it's almost like we need to physically plant seeds. So it's kind of like for us who want to do things morally, it's like we need to do the digging and plant the seed, dig, plant the seed, dig, plant the seed, because it's almost like that's how we need to deliver the message, like individually, like planting individual seeds, instead of like just these fruits that's like there that people are just kind of, plucking. We're not kind of there yet because people don't fully understand why they need what you're selling. That's what I.
What would be an example of planting this seed?
That's what I'm trying to man, I wish I knew this is where the topic was going to go, so I would have done much more thinking around it. But I think let me think. So I feel like that concept is more like starting from scratch. Okay, it's not like a full-blown tree, because right now in the marketing industry, it's like a full-blown tree that you get to pick fruits from, provided you're connected to the tree being the way we market right now, which is like, ideal client, and you have to market. Like, good marketers are selling anything. Like, good marketers could just come and sell you anything, right? Because that, again, they're plugged into this tree of, there's almost like this formula of marketing that if you follow, regardless of what you're selling, people will buy. You just need to know how to really use this formula and people will buy, right? But for me, I don't want to use that formula because I just don't want to use that formula. I don't. So in order to so it's almost like we're paving a new formula where we're not tapping into this tree that, if you know the formula, you get the result. So it's not like a mathematical formula, right? For us, it's more like hypotheses where we're starting from scratch. We're like, we wonder if we do it this way, what will happen? Mm-hmm. I feel like that's where the planting seeds come in, because it's like we're paving a new way, but our way is not like a formula that's already there. It's more like hypotheses. I wonder how, okay, that didn't work. Okay, I wonder this, I wonder that. And it all has to feel good. It can't feel yucky. So really and truly, it's not going to be easy. I can't lie, but I feel like our time is coming. There's coming a time where people are not going to buy blindly anymore. People will be buying based off of how they are moved, or through their intuition, or through energy, like energetically, instead of just buying mindlessly. I feel like right now we all buy mindlessly sometimes if you're not conscious, but that's what I think. Hopefully I can get a bit more around that, and then I could kind of chat about it. But for now, that's what I kind of think.
That's it. That makes perfect sense to me. Like, the tree is the way people have been doing marketing, and it's like a fleshed out process. So that's why it's a tree. It's already it's a formula, and if you follow the formula, you can achieve the results. So that's actually how Ida and I met, in a way.
Basically.
We went to a business coach who had a formula. If you do this and this and this, you will make sales. I did the way, and I made sales for a certain period of time. And then I stopped doing the way because it felt like shit. And then I stopped making sales. Ida did not do the way because it never felt good to her. She never went against her intuition.
Even before I even get into someone's DM, it just felt like it just felt like I was walking into someone's house without even knowing them.
Yeah.
It's like I just budged in and I'm like, hey, my name is Ida, buy from me. And it just felt so yucky. But then again, people have found ways to thrive, because some people are like, I don't care. A day I'm going to reach out to 100 people and one person will respond. And truly, one person will respond and buy from you. If you're able to consistently reach out to 100 people, you will get 5%. The thing is, 5% of 100 will buy from you. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do that. I'm sorry. I don't.
Hell.
Please.
Hell. No. So that was basically the process that we initially learned, Ida and I.
So that's like one. Exactly. So that's almost like one process, because there's another process that's like you got to educate people. You got to constantly educate and prove to them that you're an expert and that they need to buy from you. Oh my God, all of this. I'm just like, dude, it's kind of like what I shared with you, where they're like, I should write an elevator pitch for the client. Basically, that's what it seems like. I need to convince you that you need to buy from me, but I don't think it needs to be that way. That's why I really love the bartering system. It's like, you have onion, I have gold. It doesn't matter. Like at this point, it's about what I need. It's not about the value of onion, and the value depends on what I need right now. So if you need my gold right now, and if I need onion right now, we swap. There's nothing like, oh, gold is more valuable than the onion. In this moment, golden onion, golden onion. You need onion, I have gold. Like you need onion, I have gold. I need gold, we just swap.
Mhm.
You know, why can't it just be like that, where it's kind of like, oh, okay, M has this thing that I want, I've got this thing, so I get to purchase from M. Someone else sees you, like we're purchasing because someone has something that we want, whether it's confidence, whatever. It's like there's something about this person that we want to learn, and so we tap in and we're like, wow, whatever you're on, I want some of that. How can I, get closer to this energy so I can learn from it, instead of me having to convince M to buy from me? Why? No, seriously, I'm sorry. And maybe I'm from a different planet or I'm from a different universe, but it's not working for me. I'm sorry. And obviously what people will say is, if you don't want to follow the formula, then you're not going to make a shit ton of money.
Yep.
But I don't want to follow the formula. And I've seen 1, 2, 3 people who haven't followed the formula, or have they, who seem to be thriving. So
I know.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm passionate about it, because clearly I don't want to be, convincing people to buy from me. I don't need to give you an elevator pitch to buy from me or to come into my circle. Why? But why though? Why? Why do I need to prove to you that I'm an expert? Why can't you just see me and whatever it is that you kind of want to learn about me, learn, But anyway, Em, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's one of Ida and my quests in life. We've connected on this since the beginning. And there are a couple topics here where it just feels like Ida and I are kind of going along in this trajectory together of, this doesn't feel good to either of us. This way that we've been told to do things, since we've been open in our businesses, doesn't feel good to us. So how do we do it in a way that does? We have like similar quests if you really boil it down. And
exactly. And we're not the only ones. Oh,
no.
Go on them.
Yeah, no, there's plenty of people who would agree.
Plenty. People who want to do things morally, who want to be ethical,
Yes.
who are not selling something business. I'm going to teach you how to do your business.
Yeah.
Who are just kind of selling, hey, I found this thing that really works for me and I want to show you, but it's going to cost X amount.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I love that. I always love that onion and gold analogy, because you're literally describing what business and entrepreneurship is. You have created something that people want/need, and you give it to them in exchange for something else. That's business and entrepreneurship.
That's it.
And I would say I think a lot of people who are not into this basic model of selling are the ones that quit and stop doing entrepreneurship and settle for a job that's just in a way easier. They don't have to try as much. They just become someone's employee. I think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people settle for like the job that feels the most, either the easiest money, easiest and best money and security, or another job where somebody else is the entrepreneur and they work for the entrepreneur and it is a morally sound job for them, but they're not the entrepreneur. They don't have to figure it out. I think that's how this business has lost a lot of people, or the business of entrepreneurship has lost a lot of people. And I say that because I have gone through this year of, I can't seem to get consistent sales doing things the way I want to do them. And, we've been talking about this whole year throughout 2023 so far of like, should I quit? And it's been a no, but like, thinking of why am I still doing this? It doesn't even make sense to continue. It doesn't even make sense, but we keep doing it because we are going to find a way. Like the people that stick with it, stick it through, they find their way. So that's, I think, what Ida was saying about, I love to hear Ida's explanation, and then I love to explain the same concept in my own words too, for the people out there who think some things may think like Ida, some may think like M. So this classic structure of marketing is the tree, and we just described that, the classic way of doing things. And then when Ida was saying, instead of, if we don't want to do the tree, the classic formula of marketing and going in people's DMs and convincing them to buy from you, then you have to plant the seed. So Ida was saying that planting the seed process is basically doing your own experimentation to create your own method from scratch in a way that works for you. And that's what takes fucking time. So this has been 100% representative in my life because we opened our businesses. We got a business coach together. I did the business coach's way. It did work, but it felt like shit to me. It felt like I was dying. So I stopped. And when I stopped, the money stopped. And then I tried things different ways. And it kind of, I saw what worked. It was all like limited time periods. I would do something a little new and we had this growth a little bit. It worked, but the money wouldn't really stick around. So we do another thing new, growth, but the money wouldn't really stick around. But each time that I did something and it worked, I saw that it could work. Number one, that's huge. Two, I took a piece from that. So when I did psychic mediumship, I saw that I could sleep in and still make sales, and people were buying appointments with me in my sleep. So I saw that was possible, and I saw that I could do that without waking up early, without even really trying. People were interested. People were interested in the psychic shit that I was doing. It was new to them. It was weird, but they also knew me and trusted me. So they said, this is weird, but I'm not going to trust a regular ass psychic. I would trust M because I've been in her audience for a while. So that nice combination of things allowed me to make money without really trying that hard. So, but then, eventually psychic mediumship wasn't for me, but I took that piece of belief, like, hey, no matter what the topic necessarily, like, at the end of the day, people bought from me when I wasn't even trying that hard. I had pretty consistent sales when I wasn't even trying that hard. So that's possible in general. You might have to choose the right content that people actually want and the right combination of events for people to want to buy the thing from you, but that can happen. So like I've had to see how I tried it Amanda Francis's way of like nonstop journaling and just believing, and that worked really well at first, and then I burnt out. And when it didn't work anymore and I was burnt out, I was like, okay, yes, it's great. This works for a certain period of time, but if this is what it's going to look like to somehow force this to happen, I just can't do it. I'll die. I can't, again, it's like, it's that dramatic for me, So I've been shown, okay, all these fucking coaches, you believe, Emily, that you will make money at first when you work with coaches, but that money, the sales don't stick around long term after you get done with the excitement of being with the coach. Those whatever's in my subconscious or whatever you want to call it, it's not sticking around. So I need to create my own way because I'm very clearly being shown that somebody else's way isn't giving me sustainable results. So that's the planting of the seeds. So like this tree's already there. It's quick results, can be quick results, but these seeds that are planted, you get your own motherfucking tree that other people can try if they want, but that's the tree. And when you go through that path, it'll work. So yeah, I've seen the evidence of this happening in my life. And now, you know, doing things like launching the Primal Meetup app, a dating app for people who eat raw meat and do this crazy diet that I do. There was a need for that. There wasn't, people are lonely as fuck doing this because your neighbor in your physical environment's like, you're crazy, I'm not hanging out with you. Or like, you can't, maybe your health is so bad, every time you go out to eat, your health gets shitty. So the raw meat diet helps you. You can't go out with your friends and enjoy like you usually could. This shit's like tearing people apart. So, hey, how can we come together, create a community? That was in need. So it happened. And I was just telling Ida before we started recording, people are buying that. I don't really have to try. I like putting up promos, but I put up promos, like, I don't spend hours and hours educating people on why we need it. I put up, you know, I'm posting to my story all fucking day. It's one of my favorite things to do, nonstop, obsessive story poster. Within the 15 story posts I put up every day, there will be 1 to 2 Primal Meetup ads, maybe per day, maybe I skip a day. And people are coming through and purchase. It's an app for purchase. And most dating apps are free, you know. My dating app is not free and people are still purchasing it. Exactly. So there's a need, there's a demand. I'm starting to put shit together here, and it's clear to me that it's a demand, you need a demand. Or if there's no demand, then do the process, you know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, which is horrible too. It's hard.
So yeah, so right now it's a matter of like, you know, finding something unique, like this Primal Meetup. I don't see why it won't sell out eventually, because it's kind of like, as you said, it's really needed and people need it. You don't even need to educate people. This is what you just need to, basically what I want is for anyone listening, don't feel like we're saying it doesn't mean don't show your product, because you're meant to show it, but you're not meant to educate, prove that you're this expert. It's just like, hey, I've created this group, you know, jump in. It's for this, for that, for that. I've created this group for us to come together and bond, blah, 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 blah. Join if you're interested. Boom. It's not like now you're like, reason why you need to join the Primal Meetup. When you eat meat, it gives you 5 tips.
Hell no, never. I hate that diet sign.
This Primal Meetup you've created, someone could create an Instagram and follow the tree and it will sell out. Like, it will be so full you can't keep up, because they'll start educating people. You know, without this Primal Meetup, your meat journey is not, you know, entirely complete. How can you say you eat meat but you don't have meat people surrounding you? This is why you need community around meat people. Do you know what I mean? So then people are like, oh, is that it? Oh, I just had a light bulb moment. Right, I need this. Let me join. But I feel like sometimes it's mindless buying, because you just think someone else has the answer.
Exactly.
You know?
And this dating app that I've created is $5 a month. So like, that's the thing with coaching. Once you sign up, you got to pay. And often it's thousands of dollars. But, you know, there have been people that have come to me saying, oh, this person already created something called Primal Meetup, which I had no idea about. It hasn't been a big deal, just little whispers here and there. Or someone said, oh yeah, someone's already started this other group. Nobody's me. Nobody's Emily Kosick. And no one has like my specific vibe. So like, if people are, this is a community for the long haul. So if people are joining, because this happened to me 5 or 6 times in my life, signing with a coach, I don't regret it. But this idea that, oh, this coach has all the answers and they're going to fix my problems in life, even my therapist, let's be real, will have all the answers and will fix all my problems in life. 3 or 4 months in, I'm like, they're not fixing all my problems in life. So I kind of begrudgingly pay the rest of the money. And then I'm like, okay, I'm out. I've never re-signed with a coach ever, because I've been like,
same with me too, where I'm like, oh, Ida, why did you even pay for this? Everything you've heard before. Why? But see, when you're talking about the primal meetup, what comes up to me is Uber and Airbnb. It's kind of like they're like, hey, we've created this app for you. Join and do whatever you want to do with it. Like, you get to put your house, you get to find someone who wants to live in your house. Boom, done. But we've created this app for you to be able to do that. So there's a need. It makes perfect sense because people are traveling and they could only live in hotels. And they came up with this, and it's great. Or with Uber, people could only use taxis and it's too expensive. So they're like, hey, how can we use ordinary people's car and make it a bit more, decent for people? Boom. They didn't have to be educating us as to why we need Uber. No, they just presented the need. They presented the problem. They presented the solution. They're like, here, this is the problem. This is the solution we have for you. Jump on it. Make some money.
Exactly.
And you're like, hey, this is the problem. This is the solution. Jump on it and potentially find a partner. You're not saying but see, someone would sell it as, if you join this primal meetup, the end result is you will you find your life partner, you will meet your dream. And it's like, or they will advertise it like, meet your dream husband or wife on primal meetup, or like meet your soulmate on primal meetup. And it's like, no, you didn't create it so people could meet their soulmate. Yes, there's the potential too, but you've paved the way. It's almost like you've paved the way for that to happen. And majority of times, that's what coaches do. We're just paving the way. We're not the one creating the magic. The magic is the people who come together and use the tools.
Yeah.
So it's like, really and truly, people are like, educate me on the tools. I don't want to come and lie to you and tell you, hey, I've created this thing and it's just going to give you, no, sorry, I can't.
Yeah, I know. I find that exhausting. But for people who are unsure of where they stand in this topic and want to continue to experiment, what I have found helpful at this point in my life, after going through one extreme, talking about my products a lot and then like not talking about my products at all, what I have found helpful is I love to talk on stories. So I talk about my life on stories. And when I've heard people say something similar to this before, and I'm like, yeah, is it really natural sales, or do you kind of go on there and talk about it just because you want to make some sales? And I'm telling you guys, from the bottom of my heart, this is 100% natural sales. So when I genuinely go on Primal Meetup and see that there are people online and get excited, not even always, but just sometimes when I have the energy, I take a picture and I'm like, I'm really excited to be here and you guys can join us if you want. Or when I have these moments of like, God, it feels just so good to have community in my life. I didn't have that for the longest 30 years of my life. I didn't have fucking community. And I'm glad that I have it now. So I just talk about that, not with necessarily Primal Meetup in mind. I just like, sometimes I think about that when I think that, oh yeah, it's great I have community, but I just use social media like a diary and I say, I'm just so glad to have community now. And sometimes after I post that, I'm like, oh yeah, then I'll post Primal Meetup because like that's a big part of my community. So like I work it into what I already want to genuinely say on my Instagram, because this is a way that people can achieve that for themselves. For sure. If they get in there and they're nice people, community is guaranteed. Community is guaranteed. So, because it's already a group of people that we can join in. So anyway, I think there are ways of finding your own specific recipe. I genuinely, I don't rely on Primal Meetup. I think that would be awesome if it was paying my bills. That would be so badass at a certain point, but it's not right now. So like at all. So like, I don't rely on it to be my thing. So I know that I'm not like, oh, okay, how do I make more sales with Primal Meetup? I'm really not putting pressure on it. And I think that's part of the reason why it's working okay, because I'm not like, all right, got to make sales for Primal Meetup right now. There's no pressure around it. But I genuinely do. It's changed my life. And I know that it will help people have a group of people to lean on. So I want that to happen. And it's funny to hear myself say this stuff, because I used to listen to other coaches and stuff say this and just be like, I don't believe you. I think you just want to sell the product. And, you know, I think we can all get to a place where we're so excited about what we have to offer, where we're genuine about, I literally just want to share this because I think people do need it. I think there are people out there whose lives could change with it, and not to market it as being life-changing, but I think if I have this reaction, other people could too, you know.
Exactly. And I think that makes perfect sense, because it's like, you know, boy.
So on this note of marketing, because I've been having this in the back of my head, like, will I ever be able to make sales in a way that feels good to me? I've been watching my people like Logan Paul, and I've been posting to YouTube myself. Logan Paul's like a YouTube content creator. That's how he gained his fame, I guess, in part. And I know that the podcast Impulsive, you know, relies a lot on clickbait, but not relies, but like they use clickbait. They just like say crazy stuff in the title, and like that's not really what happens. And they joke about it. They're very open about it. Like, oh, yep, we're going to use that as clickbait later. So this idea of this is the marketing strategy, but people are just
yeah. That's what people fall for. Like when you do ethical marketing, they don't, like, if I genuinely write, like trust me, if this podcast, if we're putting things like, you know, clickbaity, the views we will be getting.
Yeah.
But we're not doing that, you know? And so some people will be like, well, that's marketing. Marketing is clickbait. Because if the person clicks it, that's why they're like, oh, you know, even when you write a caption, make sure that your whatever the tagline is like clickbait.
Yeah.
Make sure it's something that it's irresistible, because otherwise you lose people's attention. And then they're like, oh, you only have five minutes to capture the audience's attention. And I'm like, why do you always make it seem like it's all about the audience? It shouldn't be. It should not be, because, and I love what Rick Rubin says. It's like, it's first for me before it's for the audience. The audience, they don't know what the heck they want. They only know what's come before. So you are in control to kind of change. Don't give the audience what they want. They don't even know what they want sometimes. Because if they knew what they want, they wouldn't be clicking clickbaits. Right. You know? Exactly. But it's like the honest ones, like if we honestly tell people, yeah, we're talking about the challenges we're facing in our business, that doesn't have drama. They don't care. But imagine if we're like, we put something like, oh, I can't even come up with clickbait topics. You know, if we were to like just experiment and put something clickbaity, you see the views.
Yeah.
And then the more people are viewing it, the more YouTube would then push it and be like, ooh, there must be. But people are not getting any value in that. They clicked it for that particular clickbait. Imagine, okay, if it's like we just put eating live snake, for instance, like we named this podcast eating, live snake. A lot of people will click it.
Yeah.
People will click it, and they'll keep, kind of skipping to see where we eat the live snake, which we never do. And then they didn't get the value because they were looking for us to be eating, and they never got it. And do you know how, like that, for me, that's just yucky. It's like I got someone to come here and waste their time, and then in the end, they're just like, oh, okay. But they still clicked it. We still got the views.
Yep.
And YouTube pays for views. So they don't care what they use, as long as, like, legit, we could use some clickbait stuff. We could be saying, like the other day, you were in the bath. We could have just said, podcasting naked, podcasting totally naked.
Yep.
People jump to it.
Yep.
But that's not what it was.
Yep.
So why should I do that? And then they're like, yeah, the reason why you do that is because you've only got 5 seconds to capture the audience's attention. Well, no, I don't. I quite frankly, I don't know how what I'm about to say will come across, but I'm going to say it because it's like, I don't think I want unconscious clients. I don't. Because if you're just going to click something for the sake of clicking it without actually, relying on your agency, like realizing that you've got agency and being selective in terms of what you're watching, I don't know if that's the kind of person I want to work with. Quite frankly, I don't want to work with someone who just clicks on everything. I want people who are intentional, who are like, oh, like if you ask them, why are you following Ida? They know exactly why they're following me. Why are you following M? They know exactly. They could tell you, I'm following M because of X, Y, Z. They won't be like, oh, well, I don't know. Like, I'm following her because of her tattoos, which is fine. Someone could follow you because of your tattoos, but really, if they dig deeper, maybe they're following you because of your confidence, because they feel like someone with tattoos, she must be so confident, right? But I wouldn't want someone just like, and that's why sometimes things go viral and there's still no point, because the people you attract are just mindless people who are just mindlessly scrolling, and they happen to come across something and they're like, oh, okay. But they're not like intentionally. I want someone who's intentionally looking for me, intentionally looking for someone like me, like intentionally Googling, people talking, like podcasts talking about real struggles in business, podcasts sharing vulnerability, like podcasts that are vulnerable about business. Like that's what I like. Those are the kind of people I want, and because they're intentional, they know what they want. Do you know how easy it is to work with people who know what they want and who are ready for it? Oh my goodness, it's so good. It is so good. Like in my membership right now, thankfully, the people that are in are so ready. It just makes it like today, unfortunately, I missed like one of our meetings. I thought it was at 1, but it was actually at 12:30. And I got a message, like, it's like, hey, I'm here waiting. Are we, like, what's going on? They kept messaging, and then they're like, okay, I'm logging off. And I was like, oh, but it's just, obviously not everyone in there is showing that same level of readiness, but the ones who are getting results, and I'm rewarding that, because I'm like, no, like if you're coming, show me that, hey, I'm coming 210%, I'm meeting you 570%. Like, let's go. And I feel like that's where you're both thriving, instead of people coming and they're looking at you for answers. It's like, hey, help me. Where do I go? Like, I don't know what to do, whereas these people are like, I know what to do. I don't know how to get there. I've tried these things. What else can I try? Tell me how, like, what, show me. How did you do it? Show me. Okay, cool. Let me figure out how to, kind of tweak this to work with me. Okay, Ida, it didn't work. No, that's not for me. How can we find? That's what I want. It's like, let's trial and error. Let's figure it out together. Don't come thinking Ida has all the answers and Ida's going to change my life. Maybe I will. I don't know. That's not what I'm selling, But yeah, I could talk about this all day. I just wish we were on a different planet that didn't require the tree. This form of marketing that seems to be the only thing that's working.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I've always said, I've done a lot of building on my self-worth over the years. And I've always wondered, 2 years ago when I started my coaching practice, why were my clients have always been cool. I've never had a fucked up client ever. And it's probably because exactly what you said, like, no, all my clients have paid. Usually they pay in full. No one owes me money right now. It's just like, they're always great people. Yeah. And I think it's because we're marketing this way. We attract thoughtful, intentional people.
Exactly. Because they come to your page and they need to be curious. They need to do the work on your page, because you're not spelling everything out for them. They need to find out, is this person for me or not? So they do that by listening to your lives, listening to your perspective. They're like, okay, I like how this person thinks. I like their philosophy here. Okay, I'm willing to follow this person. Like the way I am on social media, that's the kind of people I want. Like I don't follow mindlessly. I could listen to someone a long time. I could keep going back on their page. I'm not following you. You need to be like, I don't know, before I'm following you, you need to have like, I don't know, you need to present me with something that's like, wow, okay. I didn't hear it like that before. Like you've changed my perspective on something, and I kind of want more, because the more I'm in your space, you keep changing my perspective. But that's not because they're trying to convince me they're an expert. It's just because they're sharing their experience. And that is in turn, changing my perspective,
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe I answered my own question. How I'm relating to people on Instagram is how I should position my page, because I don't go to people who think they're experts. I usually follow people who are sharing their experiences. So maybe I just need to focus on that, and then the right people will come. It might take time, but that's it.
Yeah.
Like I don't want, and people that I can't even take a break from, because it's like I have to show up constantly.
Oh God, yeah.
I have to be almost no, I'm sorry. Nah.
No, I've never had anyone like that either. Like everyone's been so respectful, so thoughtful. Like I've missed more payments on coaching programs than my clients have. I've only had one missed payment, and she was like, I'm so sorry. And she got back to me in 2 days. Great. It was like no big deal. And now, if I think we talked about that before, if that happened now, I'd be like, girl, I get it. I've been late so many times on payments. Just literally in 2023, I've been late so many times on my fucking bills. So like, I get how things go. But yeah, just the nicest people. So like, I guess that's what I want to kind of transition into here. Do we have to play the game in order to gain financial stability in the world?
I can't play the game. So I need to figure out like something else. And I've become open, and I hope that, I know God is on my side, and I just need to like, I just need to make a decision. I'm not playing the game. I'm not. So God needs to, like, clearly he created me this way, and he knows I'm not going to play the game. So clearly there's another path. So it's like, I'm ready to go that path. Like, just show me that path and let's follow it. I know it'll be challenging, but I'd rather that.
Yeah, I guess I'm there too. Because, I'm thinking about these people. Oh, okay. So I had a guy named Joey Schwartz, sweet guy, genius kid. He's 19 years old. He's an adult, but he's young person, really smart guy. He's in the carnivore primal community. He came on my podcast. Is that yesterday? And he's doing really well on YouTube. And at the end of our episode, I said, okay, Joey, my YouTube has like horrible reach. Help me out here. And he's like, Emily, I hate to say it. I'll use my words. I'm paraphrasing. He was like, I hate to say it, but you got to start using some clickbait, and you got to start changing your face to be like shocked in the photos. And I was like, no, Joey, that's the last thing that I would want. And he's like, I know, I hate it too. He has very genuine videos, but yeah, some people, he's like, I hate it too, but I have a message that I want to get out to people. And that's, like that's, it's kind of his perspective was, you kind of play the game, and even if you have a genuine message, play the game, and then you at least get to have your genuine message out, and then, good things come from that. And look, I do get that perspective, because Logan Paul, I just noticed a lot of similarities. The people that have created a lot of success by kind of quote unquote, it's like playing the game and not playing the game, because Logan Paul is an entrepreneur that made his money doing stuff he enjoys on the internet, right? He didn't make his money by, going into finance or working at a bank from minimum wage, and played the game that way. He did it in like a really unconventional way still, but in a way he still kind of played the game by using clickbait and that sort of thing. But then he gained, a lot of people do this. He gained a lot of resources. He gained a lot of money. He gained financial stability. He gained notoriety. He gained popularity. He gained clout. And now he can do whatever the fuck he wants. And he does some crazy shit. And I just see all these people and I see that it's smart. It's smart. It's smart. They're very planned out, but not like maniacally, just this works. People have free will. And I'm gonna I get what I need to, eventually become this person that people like me, an intentional person who doesn't click on clickbait, look up to Logan Paul, get very important messages from him, appreciate him on a deep level. So I get that strategy. And I notice that all of these folks that do it this way, they're genuine people, they're authentic people, they're not evil, they're good people. They have a genuine message, but it's again, like the marketing, the way that they do it.
That's the marketing. Because people, I've realized that, I used to think people just act, but I've realized that no, most people don't even know what to do next. That it's almost like you need to tell them what to do next. And so because majority of us are unfortunately so unconscious at the moment, that's how you can get their attention. Mm-hmm. Through clickbait. Because if you don't clickbait, they're not watching. They're not going to watch it. But for me, it just doesn't feel good. I know it's a marketing tool. It's basically a strategy that everyone on YouTube, everyone will give you similar advice. They will tell you, you need clickbaits. You need, like, YouTube, it's all about your thumbnail. It's got to be like something like, shocking face, like blah, blah, blah. The funny thing is when I see those stuff, I don't click it. The YouTube videos I watch are like just gentle people and stuff, but funnily enough, those people are not the messengers. It's kind of like, they're already gurus or stuff like that. So people already know them. And so just they search by name. So it's like, I don't go through what YouTube is suggesting to me, but I go and I search so and so, and then the person pops up and then I pick, right? But not many people are going to search. They're just scrolling and whatever catches their attention, they're watching. Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah. So what are you thinking, Em? Are you kind of like, okay, well, if I could, I guess, convince myself that, or get to a place where I know that, okay, this is the purpose of what I'm doing, then maybe it's okay. I guess if it feels good for you, I think it all comes down to how does it feel. For me personally, it just feels so yucky. I couldn't continue.
Yeah. For me too. I told him I didn't want to do that. But it was interesting what he said after that. He was like, well, you can also just, it's the same thing of going back to what people need. Cause he's like, I'm looking at a video here, or he said, like, you can also just format the title in a way that people will need it. So for example, I just posted a video about how I don't wear makeup anymore and my skin has gotten so much better. So it's kind of a conspiracy that makeup is even a thing, that we need it, because the more we use it, the more we feel like we need it, or the more we might actually need it because our skin is looking worse with it. There's a way to word the title where it's like how to get your skin better, how to, make sure your skin glows. And to me, that's legit. I don't really have a problem with that. So I think that was my takeaway there in a more literal sense of like, would I take his advice or not? I thought that was a good way to like balance things out of like, well, let me think about it from my perspective. What would I click on? And when I've had so many health issues in my life and I've Googled it all and I've gone on YouTube and watched videos, I'll click on how to make cheese, how to get rid of candida overgrowth. I click on those and I'm glad that those people put that in the title, and that's what the video actually is. So that I have no problem with. So I think that was kind of my takeaway, is just taking a little piece of that. It's not like either you do it or you don't. It's like, well, can I word the titles in ways that are more helpful to people who really do need the advice?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, clickbait doesn't, I'm not going to make weird faces and like, it's not my thing. It's the same thing as like getting in people's DMs. If someone drops into my DMs and tries to sell me something, I don't even answer them. So like, if I'm not going to do it, the people I want in my community aren't going to do it. So same with clickbait. I don't click on clickbait, and I can tell exactly when it's clickbait, and I don't even care what they're clickbaiting me with. It's nothing I need to see anyway, even if the video actually contains what it says it contains. I'm not clicking on it. So I don't think my community's clicking on it either. So yeah, for me, it's quite, in this specific instance, it's clear because there are things that I will do and there are things that I will not do. But this idea of playing the game more in a general sense, that's what I'm continuing to think about, because I'm kind of starting to think, how can I get investment money? We've been talking about this nonstop every episode, but like, that's kind of where I'm at, because here, like, one thing that I did learn this year is like, I need money to live. And yes, it takes time to build the money, but it's not like, oh, I'm making just enough now, but I want to make more. I'm not making enough to pay my bills, and I need to pay my bills. So how are we going to make the money that we need now? That's my question. That's what I'm thinking about now.
Play the game, I guess.
I know. It's because I'm kind of getting into a place where I'm like, it's not even worth it. I've tried so many. First of all, I don't know what's going to happen, guys. Like, I don't know. It could go one way or the other. I'm just thinking. Because something, this whole journey is a process to learn stuff, right? So I can't be like, the whole point is to learn stuff for me. And in the past, what I've tried to do is get a job that feels really good to me, like working at a farm or working for another coach like me, because that feels morally right to me. Like I'm really, putting my time into an establishment that is doing good for the world. But what I found with that is, number one, it's not the top thing I want to do. The top thing I want to do is my business. So it's still draining to me either way, even if it's the best, most morally sound business in the world, still draining to me to have a boss in general. And three, the positions that I've looked at still don't even pay me enough to pay my bills. So I have to get multiple of these jobs. And then I'm so exhausted. Obviously, I don't even want to work on my business, and I hate it, and it's horrible and traumatic. So I'm starting to think now, like, do I just do something else random for a company that I can do quick from home? It's like quick money. And so I can really focus on what I actually want to do. Like, would that be the most pragmatic step? And that's kind of where I am right now.
Boy.
But yeah, I don't know what that is. So I don't know.
It's just really interesting. Where it's like one thing that I know, which I keep talking about, is like, this concept of strategy. So what are the people who pave a new way? So maybe there's like a new wave of people who want to do business without strategy. I mean that. But obviously it might not catch on sooner. And I know I'm not answering like what I'm saying. And I know you were not looking for an answer from me, but it's like what
No,
I'm saying.
no, not at all.
Yeah, totally different from what you're saying. But for me, I wish more of us, instead of giving in and saying, oh, and I get why most of us will give in and just play the game, because we have to live. We need money, but I wish more of us could be like, regardless, we're keeping our way.
How does that work, how does that work? How do we eat?
I don't know, quite frankly. It's just, for me, it's just on faith.
But
for me,
so let me, like, I gotta say this for because I was following Amanda Francis's way and hers, it's all faith and belief. And I know you guys are different in your values and your maybe values, maybe not, but your beliefs system, you're different people. But faith, I'm sure it also depends where you're at with your mental health and self-worth and all that. But like, I was going off of faith in January, didn't have money for food. I was a month late on my bills. Like,
not blind faith. I think there's blind faith. Okay. I'm not talking about blind faith and just sitting in your bed going, hey, no. Okay. So an example is, for me, when I was moving to Ghana, obviously I made sure that the money that I had were well invested in a way that it could support me, right? So it's kind of like, okay, if I know that, because I was still working, so I was kind of like, okay, I don't want to be doing this in the next however many years. So I needed to start to position my money in a way that my money would be working for me, right? So if the person listening to us right now, you haven't even started your business, you're working for someone, and if you know you want to get out, because you can't put too much pressure on your business when you first start, like positioning your money in a way that will be working for you. A few investments here and there. So at least you know that, okay, cool. Maybe I need $500 a week to live if my business isn't producing money, right? And make sure that at least you put your money in places that at least $500 will be coming in minimum every month for you to kind of manage, right? Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't get to a point where something comes up and all that arrangement will go haywire. It does, because that's what happened to me, where it's like, even when you feel like you have everything in place, just know that life is never linear. Like, anything can happen, where like you could have so much money and then you could have a health issue and you could spend all that money on the health issue. Mm-hmm. That's life. You never know what could happen. But the best you can do is not have blind faith, where it's kind of like, action, balancing your faith with inspired action. And the inspired action in this case looks like, okay, I don't want to work for someone, and I don't want to do business in a way that doesn't feel good for me. As I'm figuring it out, what are other ways that I can make money that feels a bit okay to me, right? Yeah. Right now, I don't want to work for somebody. I know that. 110, I don't want to. So it's like the little money I have, for me, it's about, okay, how can I invest this money I have in a way that it keeps recycling for me, so much so that I can keep having faith that my business will thrive. So it's not like just sitting down and just hoping things will work out and not doing anything about it, right? So it's kind of like, some of the actions I'm taking is like, okay, the last bit of money I've got, how can I, recycle that so it keeps bringing in a bit of money, so I'm not in like this very tight position, whilst also trusting that I'm gonna find my way and keep trialing and error, because I've already done the strategy. It's like they say, it's what's this quote? Only what's the quote about madness? Okay, insanity is someone doing the same thing and expecting different result. So it's kind of like, if just making sure that you're not doing the same thing and expecting different results. So fine, you've tried doing it the business, like the strategy way. Okay, that hasn't worked. Let me try this way. Okay, this way, this part works. That part doesn't work. Like for you, for instance, Primal Meetup, you've realized, okay, cool, it's working, but it's a bit slow. okay, what are some ways that I can kind of, okay, maybe if I'm talking about it once a day, is there another way? Is there a way that maybe I could partner with someone who, what can I do? So for me, my faith is right now, like looking at, okay, I've tried the content thing on my Instagram thing. Okay, now let me try long form content where I'm just like writing articles and letting people get to know my mind in that way. Let's see what happens with that, right? So then experimenting with that, I'm doing this podcast as well. I do have my YouTube channel, like finding ways to like reignite that. So it's kind of like trying different things and seeing which someone might be like, no, that's stupid, because it's like you're kind of sticking things to the wall and seeing, like throwing things to the wall and seeing what sticks. Well, sometimes that's some people's way. Where it's like you got to keep doing that and see what sticks, as long as you're not doing the same thing over and over and over again. So kind of like on a heel. Okay, I know I have this incredible product, my cards, it's amazing. Okay, fine. If promoting it on my story isn't bringing in enough income, what can I do? Can I partner with other wellness influencers who share the same values as me? So because there are other ways, so it's like, if I've tried one way and it didn't work, what's another ethical way that I can try? And that's the faith I'm talking about, trying different ways and knowing that it's gonna work. Just don't give up the fact that it's gonna work, and just keep trying different ways. That's a faith I'm talking about. I'm not talking about faith that just believe that everything will be okay. Keep doing the same thing and keep believing. No, I believe you gotta try. If you did it this way, it didn't work out, okay, come at it from the corner, come at it, and see. Eventually it'll work out. Just don't give up that it'll work out. I don't know how it's gonna work out, but I know it will work out. But I also know if it's gonna work out, I need to take inspired action.
Yep.
Whatever that looks like.
Yep. Agreed. Like if you have money that you've saved to live off of, I think that's the way to do it. Like if you have stuff in your bank that it helps you continue to live, to me that's like, if you are not quitting, that's the only way we can ever do it, is to just experiment and see how it goes.
Exactly. So I feel like if you're not going to follow the formula, the only other way is to experiment. It's really to experiment. And some of the people who have gone the route of not like, it's funny because there's this very successful woman, she's got a restaurant that actually I'm like, oh my God, I'd love to have a restaurant like that in future.
Cool.
And now she's got a second one. So it's becoming a franchise now. And so I was talking to her and I was like, okay, so what made you start this restaurant? She's like, I actually don't know. I just do things moment by moment, so she was a model. And then she's like, I was kind of like, oh, the city I come from is a bit more chill, but Accra is very like busy. How can I bring that chill into Accra? So then I started the restaurant, but I didn't start with a plan. I just, every moment, I find solutions every moment. And now I have a second one. And I'm like, okay, cool. So what are you thinking? She's like, I can't think. I'm not one of those people who's like, this is my 5-year plan, blah, blah, blah. I'm figuring it out as I go. And I believe that I'm going to figure it out as I go. And that's how she's going to grow her business. And there are a lot of people who figured it out as they went. But then people will also tell you, no, you need projection. You need like a business plan. A lot of businesses didn't even start with a business plan. But obviously your business will get to a place where you might need it. That's where you employ people in, because it gets to a place where it outgrows you and you do need the help. But for now, like, I'm just trying to figure shit out, And for me right now, I'm even kind of stripping back, and it's like, Ida, really and truly, do you like, I know you're running a business, but do you want to run it as a business? Or right now, do you want to just get to sharing something, like just starting from scratch? And it's like, okay, I'm just sharing my mind, my thoughts, and then see where that goes, instead of saying, yes, this is my business and building a business. Like instead of thinking I'm building a business, maybe I should strip back and just be like, you know what, I just want to just share my mind and see where that goes. I don't know. It's all an experiment, guys. It's all part of being delusional, enough to want to keep going.
Yeah. The not quitting thing is definitely the number one.
Yeah,
I would say, like, as far as playing the game goes and what makes people do that or not, every person that I've talked to in my community who wants to start a business, I think most of them do, if they had it their way, quote unquote. Everyone that I've talked to in my business, in community, they have this idea of, but how am I going to make money while I try to figure things out? Everyone, even the people that have 9-to-5 jobs. And it reminds me of something Gary Vee said that I really loved when he was on the Impulsive podcast. He said, people don't want to scale back their lifestyle. They have a nice 9-to-5 job. They hate it. They want to start a business, but everyone becomes really reliant on the lifestyle that they've been able to cultivate with their 9-to-5 job. Because also, if you have a 9-to-5 job and you hate it, you want to do stuff when you're not at the job that makes you feel better, which often costs money depending on what your lifestyle is like. So what I've noticed is people who have 9-to-5 jobs, they don't have this nest egg, and most people don't have a nest egg these days. So I think the biggest issue is not like, how do I keep getting good ideas or, fleshing this business out, but how do I survive financially? And I think that's what it comes down to, like, I feel like we're kind of bouncing back topics here, but like, to close that out, that's the thing for me right now, is like, how do I just live in a way that feels good to me in this society? And then I think for most other people, it's like, how do I quit my job? And like, it's basically like, do I really want to scale down where I live? Do I really want to give up a lot of lifestyle choices? And do I even have the money to give me the time I need to figure out my business? So that, I feel like that's the piece that neither you nor I have figured out yet. Am I right?
I think as you're talking, what's coming to me is entrepreneurship, or going at life without working for someone, is not for everybody. It's really a choice, and I don't think it's a choice that one should make lightly. I don't think one should just be like, hey, I want to go and start off my business, boom. I think it's something that one needs to really think about and be like, okay, like, when push comes to shove, am I willing to still go through with this? Right? Because as we've established, yes, as much as you want to do it, it's painful. Entrepreneurship, it's not easy. I have to be honest, it isn't easy, because you're gonna cry. Like, there are moments where you're gonna cry. There are moments where it will look like it's not working. There are moments where you have to sometimes throw your savings at it, or sometimes there's so many moments, so it's okay if you feel like, you know what, I'm not willing to start a business, even though the idea sounds good. You're not willing, that's fine. It's not for everybody. But I feel like when you do decide to go at it, you need to decide to go at it knowing the challenges that comes with it, because it does come with challenges. I know some entrepreneurs who used to sleep in their car. I've heard of stories of some who used to sleep like in the street. Like, people have done extreme things because they believe in their vision so much so that they're willing to do anything to get it done. Not anything illegal or anything that breaks their I guess, moral campus, but kind of like anything, as in they strive. They're like, no matter how difficult it gets, I'm not giving up.
Yeah.
You know, even if it means sleeping in my car, I will sleep in my car so my business will thrive. It's not for everybody. Not everyone has that ability, right? To continue going. Yes, there'll be moments where your business won't be having any money. Some projects, sometimes the first 5 years, you're not even going to see any income, you know? So if you're not seeing any income in 5 years, then what? You understand? And it also depends on the type of business. Like if you're selling food, water, come on, those are necessities. You're not going to go wrong. Like if you're selling water, food, I don't know, basic everyday needs, I think you can't compare that to like, you know, selling happiness or selling confidence, you know, or selling relationship. They're very different. So again, what are you selling? Are you selling because if you're going into the business of everyday necessities, your chances of, you know, being able to get there quicker is quite high, because people are always eating, people are always drinking.
Wait, but restaurants fail all the time. I think there's like a crazy percentage of restaurants that fail.
Exactly. But again, like for me, if I was starting a food business, I wouldn't open a restaurant straight away. Maybe I'll start with like a food truck, you know, maybe I'll be selling in some market first to see, you know, but I still feel like, yes, as much as restaurants fail, I still feel like when it comes to selling basic needs such as food, water, and stuff, it's much easier than selling, you know, self-actualization.
Of course, yeah. I would guess. I honestly don't know the answer to that, but we need food. We don't need self-actualization to literally survive.
Yeah, we don't. And so in that regard, I kind of feel like depending on where your business sits in that spectrum of like, you know, survival to self-actualization, anywhere in between, that also plays a factor. So you need to know, like right now, everyone wants to become a coach. Okay, fine. If you're a coach, what are you selling? You know, but the coaches that are doing really, really well are very, very good marketers. I can't lie. Because sometimes I'm like, wow, that was so good how you presented that to me. And then I enter the course and I'm like,
I know.
Wow. That like, I bought heaven only to end up in, I don't know, like you sold me heaven.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they do it. Some say it's a skill that you can learn. You know, I think there was a point I told you, I'm trying to learn the skill of storytelling, blah, blah. It was all because I thought that's what I needed to. Listen, I don't want to learn. Like, it's not that I don't want to learn the skills of building a business, but I don't think that's my forte. I think for me, you know, I just need to just stick to what I do best and just see where it takes me. So I'm not putting any pressure on my business. I really don't put any pressure on it that it's got to make, fine, it's great when it brings in money, but I'm not going to put any pressure on it. And that's why for me, I'm finding other streams of income, because I know my business alone right now in this present moment, I can't put pressure on it because that'll put pressure on me. That's just where I'm at.
We're both at the same place. We've arrived at the same place,
literally.
Same time.
So we don't have any particular answer, but we know that we can't put pressure on the thing that we love, you know, which is making me want to kind of come back and it's like, yeah, I'm building a company. Do I even want to, you know, like right now, I just want to share my mind. And because that's the only thing that I can't stop doing. Even if I didn't want to share my mind, like that's just what keeps coming up. It's like, I know I need to show up somehow and talk about whatever it is that I need to talk about.
Yeah.
But that's just where I'm at.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. So I guess it, you know, just at the end of the day, it just depends on everyone has different boundaries and moral code. It depends on what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with at the end of the day. What costs can you cut? Are you comfortable cutting? Are you willing to sleep in your car? Are you willing to get a smaller apartment? Are you willing to move out of town to a cheaper place? Are you willing to put in the hours to do your business on the weekends while you stay at your 9-to-5 job? It's like, what is everyone willing to do to make it work? So we have our own moral code. We do want to do this. We don't want to do this. It's about, I think at the end of the day, I'm seeing the common denominator, and it's all about just what are you willing to do to keep your business going. We are frozen, my friends.
We're here.
Okay, now we're back.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, our internet's fucked up today.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I think the audio is really delayed. Okay, guys, I don't know if I'm still being recorded or what, but we are frozen. And I was honestly just going to say anyway, it seems like we're coming to a close with this conversation. So, yeah, it's good food for thought. It's good food for thought for everybody. And it's very real as we like to do things here. You know, we could, oh yeah, there goes Ida. We could easily tell you guys that, you know, you can, entrepreneurship will be easy if you buy my thing. But Ida and I aren't going to do that because entrepreneurship doesn't feel easy all the time. So I think it's good food for thought. Entrepreneurship can be a journey. It is a journey. It can feel like a struggle sometimes. It can feel hard sometimes. And it's just, what are you willing to do to make it happen? Where does your moral compass lead you? And where do your boundaries lead you? So thank you guys for being with us here today and for listening all the way up until episode 11. This kind of feels like a special episode. Just we're getting into the double digits and we're happy to have you guys here. So if Ida was still on this call, she would say that it's the Chilling Therapist. Ida is at YouTube and Instagram at the Chilling Therapist. And I am Emily Kosick at emily's.rootawakening on YouTube and Instagram. And root is spelled ROOT. We love you guys. Goodbye.